Hi, welkom bij een nieuwe episode van de DBnotes Podcast. En als je geniet van deze interviews, again, like en subscribe en deel het met iemand die dit ook moet horen. Ook vandaag heb ik weer een bijzondere gast. En dit wordt de tweede keer dat we in het Engels zullen converseren. So enjoy this one. Vandaag heb ik Danielle op bezoek.
Hello.
Danielle, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing great, thank you. Danielle, you're living in the US, United States.
Yep.
How was your trip to Suriname?
It was good.
Great.
Yeah.
You're here for the holidays?
Yeah.
Short vacation?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. You have a Surinamese background,
Yeah, I do.
but not born in Suriname.
No, I'm first generation, born in America.
Okay.
Yeah.
How is it growing up in the US and then knowing that you have your roots here, you're able to travel? How do you manage that?
I think it's the best of both worlds.
Okay.
So, being Surinamese, growing up in America, love it. It's two different experiences. But because Surinamese in America, there's not a lot of us.
Mm-hmm.
So you kind of grow up going through like an identity search in a way, because unlike growing up in Holland where you have a lot of Surinamese people, you can, relate. In America, you don't really
Yeah, and
have
the
as
language
many.
as well.
Right, unless you're like in a busy city like New York, Queens. So just really kind of finding where you belong in a way. But since we're culturally Caribbean, then, you have like the Jamaicans, Puerto Ricans, things like that, where we have some similarities. But at home, grew up full Surinamese culture, ate food, language, everything. So really like after leaving the house, like going to school, and that's where it's like, okay, well, I'm always the only one. Mm-hmm. So it would get really exciting sometimes when you like bump into like a fellow like Surinamese person. Mm-hmm. And then, you have like the Surinamese group where, you get together like little friends and stuff like that parents are friends and things like that. So it's good. Mm-hmm.
No, good to share that with us. Danielle, if you're new,
Yeah.
You're at an event or a networking session, and someone asks to introduce yourself, what would you share with them?
Like in general,
Mm-hmm.
I'm an introvert until I'm an extrovert.
Okay.
So-
And I just want to, I'm not cutting you off on
Yeah.
that. I have the same. But I recently learned that there's something in between, ambivert.
Ooh.
Those are the people who are introvert, but on certain occasions or in the right setting, they can switch up.
Exactly.
And they call that ambivert.
Well, that's what I am.
Okay, no, continue.
It's vibes and energy.
That's correct.
So I'm very observant. I always look, read the room, and then just depending on, the vibe, depends on how much of me you'll get at a time.
Okay.
So,
Okay.
yeah.
And if you look into your background, the things you do for work, business related, if you look into where you're at now, what would you call your biggest success or the highest top you've already reached? What would you share on that?
Probably the coaching and mentoring.
Okay.
That's something where I'm like, wow. Because if I looked at myself like maybe 10 years ago, I probably wouldn't say that I would be doing what I'm doing now. But I started my personal development journey back in 2017.
2017. Okay.
Yeah.
That's 7-8 years ago.
And it's really shaped me and changed, my perspective, my mindset, where I want to be, what I want to do. And I've always been the friend of the group they would call like the mom of the group, because I've always been like the nurturing person. And so I've always had a thing of like, you know, wanting to be there for people, help people, things like that. And I really found a way in these last few years to be able to really hone in on it and be able to create impact for others in their lives through my own personal development journey, what I've learned, what I've gone through, and stuff like that.
What was so going back 7-8 years ago, what was the reason, or what was that thing that made you ask yourself or go into that journey of personal development? What happened?
I was busy with my bachelor's, like finishing it up. I had just finished it up. And I felt like in my career itself that I was capable of so much more, but was struggling to like really show it because I assumed that people understood what I was good at, and you can't do that. You can never assume that somebody understands you. You have to kind of put yourself out there, right? So I started listening to like Jim Rohn, Tony Robinson, Les Brown, reading books. One book from John Maxwell called Leadership, and a few others, and just really working on myself, journaling. So every single day, about 1 to 2 hours a day, ever since 2017 till now, I do personal development in the morning. So whether it's a TED Talk, book, doesn't matter, podcast, whatever, and just try to learn. And the subjects can differ, but I always journal about it. And then also like affirmations and things like that. And I could see a change in myself with my emotional intelligence, just, you know, self-awareness, being able to look at areas where maybe I had weak points and work on those, especially in the corporate environment. You have to, with all the corporate politics and stuff, different personalities. So took every lesson and every situation, whether good or bad, and really dissected it and used it as a way to kind of like bring myself to the next level.
If you look into that journey, 7 to 8 years, and looking into your environment, the people around you, how do they reflect on that? What were their reactions on that within your own environment?
My circle's gotten smaller.
Okay.
What I was into back then is not so important now anymore. But like I said, my circle got smaller for the better.
Yeah, you know, they say there's a book on it. It's Lonely at the Top.
Yeah.
There are not that many people who are really working on their personal development.
No.
So indeed, the groups get smaller because most of the time you will be with like-minded people or other people who are also on that same path for learning and personal development. That's 7-8 years ago. If you would look at earlier, did you ever thought that these would be the things that you're doing now?
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
It's like the stuff that I'm busy with now, it was like, would dream of or be like, oh, it'd be so nice, but didn't necessarily see it for myself, if that makes sense. But I do believe in purpose, and I am a very spiritual person. And that was something I was also struggling with, like in the beginning, like trying to figure out the why, my purpose and stuff. Getting closer to God and all of that. And I do believe that I am where I am now because I'm no longer trying to be in as much control of my destiny. I kind of ask permission and put it in his hands.
Yeah.
So,
do you think that everyone has that? as in a purpose for life, but you have to, I would call it, dig into it and dig into yourself to get that out for what is
Yeah.
meant for.
Every single person has a purpose. And Les Brown said something interesting in one of his speeches where he talked about, like, do you want to pretty much like die with no impact on the world? We all, if we were born here, we have impact, whether big or small. And it's up to us to figure out what it is. And really work on ourselves and not be victims. And I'm really big on that, like not being a victim, because you can be your biggest cheerleader or your biggest enemy.
That's true.
And so you really set the tone as far as like where you want to be in life, how far you want to go. And there are a lot of people who leave this earth without figuring out their purpose.
Yeah. A friend of the guy you just mentioned, Les Brown, a friend of him was Miles Monroe.
Oh, yeah.
And,
I like him.
Yeah. And he said, what is the wealthiest place on earth? And for him, it was the graveyard. Because many people die with ideas, with songs, with books that should have been written, with movies that they have bring out. But somehow, they just say with it.
Yeah.
And then they die with those ideas. And for him, that's the wealthiest place, in the graveyard, with all of those concepts and ideas that people, they are not doing anything with it.
Yeah.
So good to touch on that as well. If you look into what you're doing now, because you did a bachelor.
Yeah.
That was in?
Human resource management.
But
I also have a master's.
HRM. And your master's is in?
Business administration, but a concentration on project management.
Okay. And if you look into, based on your education, do you still use your education within your field?
Yeah. I mean, education's a credential, right? But I mean, it's like your experience that really, I've never held an HR position.
Okay.
But I've been in the financial industry for over 13 years.
13.
Yeah.
Okay. How did you come into the financial sector?
I always say my son.
Okay.
Because before I got pregnant, I was still in school. And I changed my major a couple times.
Okay.
First, I was going for international relations. And then it was just a little bit too political for me. Not that politics is bad, but it really was, the study was focused really heavy on what's happening in the Middle East. And
that's not part of your purpose.
It wasn't really, speaking to me like that. And then I was like, I was finding myself. So I was like, let me try graphic design. So then I went to the Art Institute in Miami for a few semesters. And then I found out I was pregnant. And Rico and my parents were like, why don't you guys come to Virginia? Because we're going to go to Virginia. And then you guys can come. So I'm like, do you want to go to Virginia? And he's like, yeah, I want to work.
Okay.
So that's where he started, doing the construction. And I went to Virginia. But I've worked since I was 15. And I've always had a job. I love making my own money. So my first job was at McDonald's, by the way. So I could come and travel to Suriname. So I could buy my tickets to come here. Because my parents were like, I don't know if we're going to pay every December. And I'm like, that's not good enough for me. I need guarantee.
Yeah.
So I'm going to get a job.
Money.
Yeah. So same thing. I technically didn't have to work. Like, the money Rico was making when we moved to Virginia was good. And, but I'm not a stay-at-home mom type of girl. So I applied for Wells Fargo. And that was my first dip into the banking field.
Okay. What was your first job at Wells Fargo?
Phone bank.
Okay.
Yeah. So did the phone banker thing. And then we spent 2 years in Virginia. And then we moved to Florida again because I'm like, I need more. I'm a Florida girl. And so then I started working in the branch with regular consumer and then business clients. So I was consumer and business banker. So did that for a few years. And then from that, crossed over to the operations side at JP Morgan Chase. And
that's one of the biggest banks.
Yeah,
if not the biggest.
I worked for 2 major banks
Okay.
in the United States, Wells Fargo, JP Morgan Chase. And I did KYC, AML, financial crimes investigations, and did that for a few years. And now...
1 second. For the people who don't know KYC, know your customer?
Know your customer, yes.
Okay, and anti-money laundering?
Anti-money laundering, okay. AML, yes. And the clients that I worked on were not like individuals. Like, it was big corporations like Allstate, BlackRock, Tesla. Those were the clients that I would do the KYC investigations for. So,
I want to pause here for a moment. If you look into, because you've been working at a bank for 13 years.
Yeah.
If you look into people, their normal spending habits or what they normally use their money for, compared to wealthy people or wealthy individuals, what are some of the biggest differences that you've noticed in these past few years?
I could probably tell you, like, so when I was at Wells, like I said, I did regular consumers and then businesses, but then I also did high value, like premier customers, which would be the wealthy, right? I think when it comes to the normal day-to-day, well, you have different kinds, but a lot of money is spent on the regular person on a lack of budgeting. So because there's a lack of budgeting and financial literacy, then a lot of their money goes towards fees or like liability type of credit. So like high car payments, overdraft fees, things like that. You'll find the ones who, a lot of food purchases, you'll find the ones who are like more financially well off, do more budgeting, more planning. We'll use like financial advisors, investing, whereas the ones who are not, they will pay everybody before they pay themselves. The wealthier ones, or the ones who are more well off, they don't necessarily even have to be wealthy, but just, well off, will pay themselves first.
Pay yourself first?
Yeah, so savings, they'll look at it like a bill. And when I worked in the banking, I always talked to my clients like that. Like, okay, let's look at your credit, let's look at your financial situation. We did like a needs assessment, sort of like on their life, like what big events do you have going on? Where are you right now in your life? How much money are you putting away? And making that like a priority to kind of get them from, ooh, I don't make enough to save, to let me put a little bit on the side so that we can invest it or do something, but not, relying on credit so much. So the financial education part is very important.
So it is possible because with the same income or salary, they are able to shift that.
Yeah.
Without even having another income of a higher income. They are still able to change that. But it's what you're saying is a lack of financial literacy.
Yeah, because you have to budget. I mean, if you're just making money and spending it without looking at your financial landscape, then you never really know where you're at. So sitting down, doing a budget, and understanding the difference between a need and a want, and trying to live below your means. We all want stuff, but does that mean we need it? And also setting boundaries.
And those are, you've been in it for over 10 years now. So you've seen a lot of these cases.
Yeah, and I've just been in different parts of the financial landscape. So the KYC, and then what I do now is regulatory compliance and privacy.
Okay.
And our
different.
clients are financial institutions. Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah, our clients are financial institutions.
How did you make that shift?
It just happened. COVID.
Okay.
So JP Morgan is a big bank, you know, lots of shifts. Got my layoff letter. They ended up not necessarily laying me off. They just moved me to another part, but I still was searching. I wanted something permanent. And that was probably the biggest and best blessing because that's where my life really shifted.
That was during COVID?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because then I work for the company I work for now. And work-life balance is just great. Remote, unlimited PTO. They really care. There's a culture of caring. And that's something you don't really find in the large corporate banks. So now I work for a company. We do third-party payment services for financial institutions.
Okay.
So not directly in the bank anymore, but still in the financial industry. So that's why all of our clients are financial institutions. So we do like their payment processing and things like that. But yeah.
So you've mentioned work-life balance. How would you define that, or how does that work personally?
Okay, so being able to give your all to your job, but also not at the expense of like your own life or your family. So it really is important that you can be there in full for yourself, for your family, for your kids, your husband, whoever, but also your work. And the company I work for is family first. So they understand. They want you to be at your best because they know if you're at your best, then you'll perform. So they're okay with saying, like, you know, if you need time off or whatever the case is. And I think a lot of corporations should follow that lead because right now, especially in the corporate space, it's always like, what have you done for me lately? Like your ticket. And really, your workforce is like the bread and butter of your business. Like if your workforce is not happy and there's not a good culture and they don't love to come to work and passionate about what they're doing, then as a corporation, how can you drive positive result?
Yeah. I'm listening to this, and I know you have an HR background, and then I'm connecting this with getting millennials work into companies, maybe their first job. And then you see that they have different expectations of the companies. The companies also have different expectations of their new employees, and then it doesn't match. Some of them really are looking into work-life balance, that it's important for their mental health and being able to do what they like to do, and then try to balance that with work. But then sometimes, especially with the older companies, sometimes it's structured in a way that they are not able to give that flexibility to their employees, especially in the beginning. So that's why I asked the question on work-life balance. And then also work-life balance, sometimes it's good to have that balance in your family and work. But I know that sometimes you will have situations where your family needs more attention.
Yeah.
And then sometimes your work needs more attention. But it can be for that too long.
No.
Only work for a long period of time, or the other way around. Only family and not doing anything. In a way, they are looking forward to have your services. And that's what you're doing now. In the beginning, you mentioned one of your things now is personal development.
Yeah.
And coaching. So is it after your own journey that you start with that, or was it already in between that you start coaching others as well?
Uh, well, I guess you could say in between.
Okay.
Because even in the jobs that I held, like my management teams, they always pulled me to help with like new hire onboarding or interview process. I was a part of the interview process at Wells. Even my job
Your
now.
HR kicks in.
Yeah. So I've never officially had an HR position, but that doesn't mean I don't have the skills, right? And then also like in the company I'm currently at, I thought it was really, really cool. When I interviewed for the job, they allowed the person who I was replacing to interview me. And you don't come across that. And then so when I came on, I was able to interview my now manager. And so that was really nice because I was able to ask things that I knew would help me with my growth and my development and make sure it was a good fit. And I was really happy that my VP was on board with that. And then also one of my colleagues that we just hired, also part of the interview. So the company I work for now, that's like a big thing in their culture. So like team fit, dynamic, stuff like that. So I've always been on the corporate side, like in that way. And then when they start onboarding, coaching, things like that, help them walk through stuff. But then doing it with our businesses was just something that kind of like shaped itself.
Yeah. How do you combine, because you have your own businesses as well, how do you combine your experience from the corporate world within your own organization, our own business? Are there things that you can directly pick and choose for your own organization?
Yeah, a lot. Yeah. And that's why I said education is good. It's a credential, but it's really what you learn on the field, right? That really shapes you. And a lot of those skills that I've learned, a lot of the tables that I've sat at, a lot of meetings, a lot of things that I've led through my career really helps to mold the way I conduct business for my own businesses. Because I've been able to see it on so many different scales. And I think also with my background, working with different levels, like the regular consumers, the business, small businesses, larger corporations, government entities, now financial institutions, really gives me a full scope to see how things function no matter what sector you're in. So applying those skills or things that I've learned, processes to business is like second nature almost. So.
And so that's one part. You have your own organization. And how long did you guys start at?
Which one, Suyam
So you have Suyam and?
$0 strategy.
$0
so $0
strategy.
is the one where we do like the coaching and stuff.
Okay.
And that kind of was birthed by what Rico was doing. So like what he started doing on social media, what is it now, 3 years ago? Almost, where he started promoting the businesses and things like that. And then in 2024, I'm like, let's take it another level because I love what you're doing and I think it's amazing. And I want to help you. So I want to take some of the skills I have and help you with what you're doing. Because the things that he's really good at, I'm not good at. And the things that I'm good at are not his. And that's why the power of delegation is so important. And so I was like, let's do masterminds. Let's see what we can do. And he loved it. And, you know, it just is like an extra sprinkle on like what he's doing. But really $0 stemmed from his movement with what he does with Squad and like promoting the businesses and his eye for marketing and things like that. So
the name $0 strategy. And what's behind the name?
His movement.
Okay.
It costs $0 to like and share, right? And so word of mouth is the most effective way to market, and it's cheap. It's free. So people are more inclined to buy or to go and try a service or a product or whatever if they hear it from someone else's mouth. And that's just, I think, human nature. Like if I tell you like, hey, this restaurant is so good, you have to try their food. Yeah. You're probably going to go try it, right?
Definitely.
And so when he started doing, it costs $0, and that was like his thing. And so I said, $0 strategy.
Let's structure it.
Yeah. And I mean, it's a concept of, word of mouth, being free marketing, most effective forever. Everybody knows that. At least I hope so.
Yeah.
They might not understand all his strategies, but it's marketing.
Yeah. But if you would look into, because there's sometimes a downside to that, and I want to know what's your experience on that. When people don't have to pay for it, sometimes they don't value it. How do you look into that? Or what's been your experience with $0 strategy on that?
You mean when they don't have to pay for a product, they don't value it, or?
That's one.
Yeah.
But also doing like your coaching people, or that part is not free.
So we have two kinds.
Okay.
So like the $0 masterminds that we host for small businesses, that's our way we give back.
Okay.
Those are free.
Okay.
We invest, like, in the swag bags and stuff, our own money, but we don't charge people to come. And then we might collaborate with other businesses, like the catering, the videography, the venue, and say, for exchange, you, like a barter almost.
Okay,
like you bring your services, we'll promote you, and we're giving back to these small businesses, give them a push for information that technically they would pay for, right? So $0 has two parts. The masterminds that we host for free. And then the other piece is if you're like a medium large business, and that's different. Like, yeah, of course. I mean, you're already on level, you know what I mean? But then also we do consulting too. So it's like a two-part thing.
Okay. But do you then, then my question is on I think the first group where you're doing it for the small, or people who are just starting.
Yeah. Value.
Yeah. Do you notice any difference on that? Or that they value the information that you're providing?
So not just anyone comes to our mastermind. There's a process. And you got to register. Because although we do it for free, at the end of the day, let's be real, our time is valuable. And I'm not doing anything to waste my time. I'm not doing it.
Exactly. That was what I'm looking for.
Yeah.
Understood.
So there has to be a method to the madness, right? So you have to apply to come. And there's certain requirements that you have to meet. Like one, obviously, I'm not speaking Dutch on it. So you got to understand English, because a part of it's going to be in English. You have to have your own transportation, like make sure you can get to where the place is. So like there's certain things, and there's other questions. Based on how you answer the questions will let us know how serious you are about your business. And then you have to RSVP and things like that. So there's still a approval process before you come to the event.
There is some sort of investment, although it's not directly money.
And then we just took it up a notch with taking the coaching to another level. So this last mastermind we did, we opened it up to extended coaching, I guess. Because I was like, Rico's like, yeah, we're working with so many people, but then it's just like, you meet us, you sit with us for a couple hours, and that's it. And I was like, all right, well, I love coaching. He is different. Not that he doesn't love it, but we have different styles. So for me, I feel like personal development is important. It's very overlooked. There's not enough emphasis on it. And you can't be great in your business unless you're good personally, because it all trickles. So that's where we took it to the next level and opened up personal development challenges. So we have 90 days. So we're in my second round right now.
Is it virtual, physical, or hybrid?
Mostly virtual.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and then we do like a weekly touch base. Every Tuesday we get on Google Meets and we'd have a reflection, and then I have material that I put together based on every week's topic.
When are you starting with your next?
We are in week 5 right now.
Okay.
So when this 90 days close, then we open it up again. I never allow people to start in the middle.
Okay.
So once we end this 13 week, then open it up.
And where can people find information on your masterminds or sessions? Or do you post it publicly?
Yeah, $0strategy.com.
Okay, there's a website for it.
And the thing is, that's like, we're doing it in phases too. So it's very new. And I believe in everything in its own time. And so I'm never rushing to, but like all of our ideas and everything we're doing is phase. Because although we've done about 4 masterminds, this last one we did was a first one. We opened it up for extension. So it's a new add-on.
And learning on the way.
Absolutely.
And you've mentioned 2 things. I'll go in both paths. One is working together with your husband. Some people say in family businesses, or don't work with your spouses, or don't work with family. And what's your experience? And what are the I would say tips and tricks that works for you guys into working as spouses together?
Understanding each other. And that's why I say the power of delegation is important. So you have to understand what your partner is good at, and then the things you're good, and where you can meet in the middle, and not try to change someone to be good at the things you are. I think that's important. So embrace them and their qualities, and vice versa. I don't know. It's hard because it's really one of those things where we are now is full purpose. It's not something that we did on purpose. With what Rico does individually on his page, that has nothing to do with me, everything to do with him. What I'm doing, we didn't do it on purpose. It just kind of happened. And that's how I know we're in our purpose. And at this point in our life, we're in our purpose where we need to join forces. Because we've been married for 15 years. A lot of people don't know that. But he's had a lot of growth, as have I. I've learned a lot from him. He's learned a lot from me. I was a very safe person. I didn't like risk. He's very risky. So trying to jump more in the risk with him and say, hey, let's do this.
While you're saying that, I'm thinking one people who tries to manage risk, and then the other one who takes more risk. And
so it's a balance. It's a balance.
And then they marry each other.
Yeah, so we definitely balance each other out. But we definitely learn from each other. But I think embracing each other is very important. Because although I'm very controlled with, I would say, I'm not controversial, although I can be, but I don't. And he can be very controversial at times, right? And me telling him, like, you know, maybe you should work on the delivery, babe. Like, we have talks at home, you know? But also understanding he is who he is, and he's going to learn, you know, his lessons on his timing, and the way they're meant for him to be learned, and same for me.
Yeah.
Because there's been some risks that he's wanted me to take, especially like with investing. Like, we invest in stocks, but we also do crypto. And there was a time where he's like, let's buy a Bitcoin. And I'm like, no. And it was like, the Bitcoin was like cheap. Like it wasn't what it is now. I'm like, no, I don't want to buy it yet. And he's like, let's do it. And I'm like, no. And then we ended up doing it, but a little bit later down the line. But it's like, if I had the risk that he had, then it would have been so much better.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm like, we balance each other out. Sometimes we butt heads.
Yeah.
Too, though, because we're both Cancer. But he's June, I'm July. I always say I'm the better one. But he's a little bit more emotional, like when it comes to headstrong. And I'm a little bit more strategic, like think. So trying to find that middle piece.
Yeah.
But we work well together.
Okay. I think maybe for you as well, looking into the sector that you're working in, it's managing a lot of risk and other people
100%.
their risks. So now you have to bring it into your own.
Of course. And he doesn't always understand why, but because of the background, like you said, that compliance and stuff. I look at things from a different lens. He's a doer. I'm the wait, let's analyze, let's put together a plan. He's like, let's go for it.
But both have their positives.
100%.
I would say.
I've learned a lot from him.
Because if you can manage both positives, meet each other in the middle, then you can get most out of it, I think.
No, absolutely.
Because you will get new opportunities, and then there's one person who never takes the risk, so you're missing out on all opportunities. Yeah. On the other hand, if the person only takes all the risks, you can get a lot of big failures as well. Yeah. So it's good to manage that. The other thing I would ask is, you mentioned ideas, coming with new ideas, and I think people that are taking a lot of risks see a lot of ideas. Yeah. So the question is now, what's your thought process on choosing which idea to work on or to start with? Because there are so many things that we would like to start, but what's your thought process on that?
It's evolving. I used to be, like, I was safe, right? And that's why we always talk about fixed mindset versus growth mindset. And so some ideas, if they seem like too intricate, I'd be like, ooh, I don't know if we can. And that's where he's like, why were you not even? So then that's where it's like, all right, growth mindset. Instead of saying why we can't, let's focus on what we can do. And what are the questions we need to ask to see if it's possible? And then so I'm more open to hearing ideas and trying to see, okay, what's the idea? How can we go about it? Find myself in the idea, then knocking it down from the beginning. Because before I would say probably disqualify myself from opportunities, like years ago. And when you're in a fixed mindset, that's what you do. And so getting from that into the growth mindset and really like thinking, but I think a needs assessment is important. So you have to look and see if it makes sense. Yeah. Whether it's a financial thing, time thing, if it's going to make sense, where is it going to bring you? Because, we've had ideas and they weren't the best ones. But I think having an idea and going through with it, and even if it's a failure, you learn from that adversity. And even though you may not necessarily understand why, or it might seem like a waste, don't look at it like that. There was something you had to learn from going through that, so that when the next big idea comes, you can navigate it differently.
Do you have, on top of mind, an idea where you think, good that we didn't start with it, looking at afterwards?
We wanted to go into the granite business.
Into the?
Granite.
What's
like
that?
The stone, granite. Granite quartz. And we were going to do it with another couple, friends. And we started like the investment, we made the business account, we registered the business, we did everything. And then Rico and I were just putting more work in than the other couple. And we had to take a step back and we're like, is this what it was supposed to be? No. Like we were supposed to be a partnership. And so we pulled out. But there was things we learned from that. Me personally, I'm a little bit more, I guess you'd say probably conservative. I'm not a fan of jumping into business with everyone. And I think that taught me to be a little bit more selective in who you jump in business with. So with that, mixed with like my corporate background, I always call it a risk assessment.
Yeah.
I'm always doing risk assessments.
Know your partner.
Yeah. And yeah, seeing like, okay. Try to find the balance.
And then using that for your ideas or new ventures to start with.
Yeah.
I'm curious. So you have $0 strategy. You just touched on Suyam. I've listened to another interview that's also started in COVID. And then you've grown till what you guys have now as a business. I'm curious to know, because would you call it a unique business?
Which one?
Suyam?
Unique.
Is it a new thing or something that's already there, but you guys put your own flavor and sauce into it and then start a company from there? Or would you rather see it more as a copy of something that's already in the market? Where would you categorize it?
Well, the hot sauce business is huge. But I guess you could say it's unique.
Okay.
It kind of just... My mom is really good at making things. And if she had a business mindset, she'd be like a billionaire. She can make anything. Lotion, soap, oils, cook, it doesn't matter. She can do it. And so she was always making the sauces, and Rico was like, let's do the business. And for a while, like, she was like, no. But I would say Suyam, it's a family business. So him, Rico, myself, my mom, and my dad. But it's really her thing because it's her creations. Yeah. And we put a little flair on it. I mean, our hot sauces are different from what's on the main market in the United States. We do mostly fresh, and we do have that little twist of the Surinamese inspiration in it.
Got it.
But even the way we went about growing the business, we didn't really focus on the aesthetics of the business. We kind of let the business grow and build itself. We never had an investor. We never took out a loan. The business grew organically on its own. The business paid for itself. Did we invest in the business? Of course. I mean, for our first round of co-packing, we absolutely did. Rico and I equal parts as my parents. But that was the first initial investment. But we never relied heavy on like lending or investments to start it. It really grew organically. And as it grew, so did the like the logo, the presentation, the thing. And it still has a wow. The United States is huge. And so even if you're familiar with America, you look at a supermarket like Publix. They're not nationwide. They're regional. But they're a multi-billion-dollar company. In where we live in Tampa, Hillsborough County alone has more people than all of Suriname.
Oh.
So Florida itself, I mean, it has more people than countries put together. You know what I mean? So it's a big landscape, and the way we operate business in general is we're not in a race. Everything on its time. So our thing was community growth, and so we have a good client base in our community, and there's a lot of money in business in even, like I said, the one county. So we grow on a tempo.
Got it. The reason why I asked that question is because you've mentioned an idea, and so many people have a lot of ideas, but they never execute on it. And that's where you came in with the $0 strategy, for example. And like you've mentioned, your mother has a lot of things that she was able to do, and still you have to pick one. Or you can't just pick all of them and start with all of them all at once. In another podcast interview, the guest mentioned some people say, yeah, I have 19 streams of income, but it doesn't work like that if you don't focus on one and then just grow that one out. You've mentioned natural growth. Where I'm still curious to know where your experience came into that one with your background for Siam.
Operations.
Okay.
So like, I mean, from the beginning, especially with the Wells Fargo background, setting up businesses. When I was a business banker for Wells Fargo, I would set up the businesses from the ground up. They'd come with their registration. They needed a business account. They needed loans. They needed whatever. And I'd help them. There's one business in particular that I can mention because she was my client on the personal side, and she was a nurse. And then she's Jamaican, her and her husband. And they decided they want to do a restaurant. They want to get out of that space. So they came to me, and I set them up from the beginning. Business accounts, business credit card, business loans. They needed equipment loans, merchant processing services, all of that. And that was 2016, I think. They're still operating. There's been a lot of businesses that I've helped on the financial journey from setup to whatever in my career. So when it was time to start Siam, we never had to go and hire somebody to do it because I knew how to do it. And I know how to do the operations. And we have an assistant that works for us. And I handle, I guess you could say, well, maybe I am doing HR in a capacity, right?
So you're basically HR probably and the operations.
Yeah,
the
HR,
COO.
operations. Yeah, right? My mom does, the production stuff. Rico, obviously marketing. My dad is really good at like in-person sales. So he does a lot of the community stuff. But
here again, you see the different
delegation.
roles and delegation within
I think
the
it's
family.
Let me just talk about delegation, because a lot of people, especially with what Rico's doing, I've heard a lot of stuff, like the more I'm coming out and talking, like, oh, she's the reason. No, he's the reason. He inspired me to be like, babe, let me help you. But nobody can ever do everything the best, right? Just like a corporation, you need different departments, you need different leaderships, you have different, the CEO can't be good at every part of the business. And so I think a lot of people underestimate, or they look over the power of delegation. And really, like, even in business, understanding who is good at what. Like me, I'm not as good as a cook as my mom. That's why she's doing the production and the quality. I'm not a great marketer like Rico. Rico didn't go to school for it. It's something he has naturally. God gave him the talent to do it. And he does it and drives result better than somebody who has a degree in it. Let's just be real about it. And that's his part of the business. In anything we ever do in life, that'll always be his part. If I do talk about marketing and stuff, it's things I've learned from him. But that's not my forte. And I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
And that's why delegation is important. And I think more people should rely on that. Because you'll find yourself being bottlenecked in an idea or in a business if you're constantly trying to do everything yourself. But if you have solid, trustworthy people that are better at things that you are, use them.
Yeah, please let them do.
Yeah, like he
do
knows
that
I'm
part.
structure, I'm that. So he doesn't even try. He's like, you got this. That is your thing. You just let me know where I have to show up, what I have to do. And it works.
Yeah. And I think that will also help to grow even faster, because then now everyone is in their own lane, and then pulling together to get the same result
Exactly.
that you're looking for as a company. Daniela, we are at the end of a year, and at the beginning, I would say, for a new year, 2026. When this will be published, it will already be in 2026. But for people who are just starting out, or they have an idea, or they've been on an idea for a few months, maybe a few years already.
Yeah.
From the operation side, from the structure side, from the execution side, or making a decision, what can you give to these people, or this group of persons?
One thing that I've learned, well, the whole team has learned with Suyam. We got really excited really quickly in the beginning, and we just popped out different sauces. So now we have over 13 products. So right now we're in a stage and a turning point in our business where we want to come out with more, but the product line is already too large. And we want to go back to the drawing board and rebrand. And so now we're looking to scale back on product so that we can reshape our product landscape. And that is okay. So what I would say for new businesses, people with ideas, starting out, whatever, ramp up slowly. So the same way we grew the business in other ways organically, grow your product or service line organically. Test the market, things like that. I'm not regretting the way we did it at all, because it was a learning.
Yeah.
But that's an advice I have, because I think through things that we've learned in business, I think that's something that's beneficial and that people might not realize. Even restaurants do it. They have a massive menu, and then they lose focus. So ramp up. That's the biggest advice I have.
They have a large menu, and then people only eat 2 or 3 things out of that
Exactly.
menu.
Yeah.
Why don't you focus on
that part?
On that part.
Yeah.
But even then, for you guys, starting with different flavors, and then now you're trying to concentrate more. How was it's still advice for this group of people? How did you come up with your first product? Because listening to this, your mother already did it a few years, or it was her thing. But how did you came up with the first product that people paid for?
That's what I'm saying. The first product was already 6 products. Like, we came in hot. And so it was like, boom, everything all at once. Boom, the marinade, and then the 5 hot sauces. All came out at the same time. And so we have our clients, we have client base that likes every single sauce. So right now it's navigating how to scale back. The beautiful part of it is because we already have the sauces established, they don't have to be gone forever.
Yeah.
But change the blueprint, like maybe seasonal for some, standard signature for others and stuff. But that's what I'm saying. When you have the ideas, you're proud, you're excited, you want people, scale back. Like, ramp up slowly. Test 1, then 2.
Yeah.
One example that Rico loves to use is Red Bull. Forever, Red Bull had one flavor and one flavor only. And they were able to do so much and grow so much with just one flavor that now they, doing more. But yeah, I would say that.
I don't think people get enough of this when just start with what you have and then grow that. And sometimes you don't even have to expand.
Yeah.
You just stay with what people already like or love instead of going very broad and then losing focus on what these people need or want. Looking into that starting phase, I'll wrap up with this. Did you guys get a lot of no's?
Yeah. You need no's. You should never want a yes man. No's help you grow.
Yeah.
So no's keep the fire. Definitely got a lot of no's. No's for different things. But they helped us grow. So.
Because sometimes it could be either side. Sometimes people get no's and then they don't start with it because they got a lot of no's already. Not good, not enough, too cheap, too expensive. It's already there or it's already in the market, so they never start with it. But usually I have a few guests already. It's the no's that count.
Yeah. The no's count. The no's have to keep you going. If there's a no, you reevaluate. What am I doing? How can I tweak it? How can I rework it? Like for our marinade, for example, when we first started, we tried to reinvent the wheel, take the chunk out of it. That wasn't it. So we're like, no, we can't do that. And our marinade in America is our #1 selling product.
Oh.
So marinade first, pineapple habanero next, then heat stroke are the top 3 of the products that we have. But yeah, the no's are important.
Daniela, wrapping this up. 2025, if you would look into the future, let's say 5 to 10 years, what would be things that you would like to have accomplished?
That I didn't? Or?
It could be either.
For 2025?
No, so...
Oh, okay.
No,
Ask
looking into 5 years. Yeah.
What do I want to accomplish?
Correct.
Got it. That's like a whole other podcast.
Okay.
No.
But make it sure, the reason why I'm asking this as well.
So definitely take the coaching to another level. We're going to continue with our masterminds. And want to do more social projects here. I know we started the backpack project 2 years ago, and that's going to continue. But there's other social projects we want to do here. Want to continue to branch out with the consultancy of what we're doing. Right now we're working on the second arm of $0, but in the United States. And then just be able to help and create impact and grow at the same time. But for us, even living in America, we're both Surinamese people, right? And we want to see the country grow. We want to see elevation. And I think that what we do is we learn the tools and the qualities that we've learned from outside and bring them back. And I think everybody, whether you live here or you're part of the diaspora or whatever, you should never forget your roots or where you come from. And so our goal for 2026 and onward is to continue to create impact here. Because at the end of the day, I live in America. I was born there, but my roots are here. So why would I invest into America when I can invest in my people?
Yeah.
So.
No, that's great. And now I understand why it would be a different podcast to go into that.
Yeah.
No, Daniela, no. Thank you for sharing.
Absolutely.
This was my second podcast in English.
Yeah.
So for me as well was a
you did great.
journey. Thank you. And thank you for joining this conversation.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
And I hope I know that there will be at least one person that will get something out of this conversation, I would say share this with someone else. Share this because people need to know, and this will be a journey for them as well. Like and subscribe, and see you on the next episode of the DBnotes Podcast. Thank you, Daniela.
Thank you.